I was able to double my income about 2 years ago. And then from there, actually steadily increased my income thereafter. And it was honestly just because of two main things. And no, I'm not a business owner. I don't really have a side hustle or anything like that. And I'm not trying to sell you anything or a course or whatever, like the case like that yet. Um, I say yet because I don't know. I may want to start something in the future. Maybe God, that's what direction God wants me to be in, whatever the case is. So you can expect something like that maybe in the future, but not right now. Anyways, but I don't own a company. I don't have a side hustle. I'm not one of those 20-year-olds who make $400,000 or $1 million company or whatever the case is like that. No, that's not me. I'm honestly a pretty average Joe Schmo who is trying to make his life better, who's trying to have an above average life when it comes to his habits and everything like that. And it has showed in just me actually doubling my income in 2023 and then actually having my income subsequently grow after that. And again, it came from two things. The first thing is really from learning high income skills. Like the first skill that I ever learned to actually get myself more in the online space, right, was basically something called appointment setting. And that's pretty much, think of it as a baby sales job, where instead of you hopping on calls with people and getting them to buy something, you're actually just having conversations with people and having them book in those sales calls with somebody else. And then granted, if those people close on those calls, I get a commission on that. So think of it as more of leverage. Instead of just always trading my time for money, I actually learned how to trade my skill for money. So depending on how good I was, depending on how I managed these conversations and everything like that, I could get paid more. And that actually helped me double my income that year. And the reason why I say learning high income skills is because, like, for a lot of people, like, the reason why most people at, let's say, McDonald's are paid the way they are is because the skill that they are necessarily having of cooking burgers, flipping burgers, operating a fryer, and everything like that, anyone can pretty much do that, in all honesty. And the thing is, when it comes to having skills that give you a higher income, right? Those are skills that not necessarily everyone has. Like, you have to actually put some thought into it. You actually have to be trained more than just a day. You have to have some practice in it, have some understanding of human psychology and everything else like that, how to talk to people. And that's why sales and any kind of other area as of that is really a higher leverage, because you can spend maybe an hour with somebody, and depending on what kind of offer you're actually working with, you make a whole boatload of money, because for some people, they can make $500 in one call. Some other companies, since they have really, really higher offers and whatnot, some people can make $2,000 in just 1 hour. And that's just a higher leverage. It's a more difficult skill to master, but it gives you a much higher leverage on your time that you're actually spending on this. And so when I started focusing on learning these kinds of skills, that's when my income started rising in just this short amount of time. And it wasn't just because of bonuses and raises and stuff like that. No, it was because of the skills I was actually implementing in my life. And the first thing for me was appointment setting, because it was just something simple to learn, something that can get me inside of an actual online business and see how it kind of runs and everything. And then from there, I kind of grew. And the reason why I grew is actually because of the second reason. And that's because I chose to work like a servant. And that's not meaning I'm working like a slave. I'm doing everything the business owner tells me to, even though it's like detrimenting to my own health or whatever the case is like that. No, people get kind of the wrong idea when it comes to servant. That what I just described to you is kind of like a slave, working like a slave, like no regard to your own personal health or whatever the case is. Working as a servant, I mean as doing everything that you can to serve, like to work as best as you can and go above and beyond what's expected of you. Kind of like working with excellence, but just in the sense of like always keeping that frame of mind in your head. We're like, okay, I'm setting these appointments so I can serve these people. How can I serve my boss a little bit more today if today's a little slower? Could I help with when it comes to marketing? Could I help build out some systems? Could I just let him know I'm eager to do anything else? And I had that frame of mind when going into working with this business that I'm working with now. And from there, I could tell you, honestly, the only reason why I'm in this position as I am today, because of God's grace, and also changing my mindset to not be like, I need to be paid whatever I'm deserved. like I deserve to be paid more or whatever the case is like that. No, it's that I put in the effort, I put in the work, and I put in the actual, gave my boss actually reasons to justify paying me more by doing more. And I wasn't sacrificing more of my time. It was actually learning more skills and actually helping him out in things that he was struggling with. Because I work with a small business, so it's a little easier than when it comes to corporate. But I was just there and I was just like, hey, I'm doing all these setting and stuff. Looks like you're struggling with when it comes to content. Hey, I'm here to help. Do you want some help? I've done it before. Let me see if I can add some things to your plate or whatever the case, or remove some things from your plate, more like it. And from there, things started adding up, adding up, adding up to the point where got to a point where we had to restructure the whole business, and he actually brought me in along that process. And while that around 6 months where we weren't making any money because we were restructuring everything and making sure that we were building something better, he was still keeping me on payroll and helping me along the way and showing me what we've been all doing and actually allowing me to be part of the process, which was amazing. And I've learned so much from that. And keep in mind, I've been blessed with the place that I'm working at right now. But also, I know for a fact if I didn't have this kind of mindset going in and just being like, oh, I'm here for just a transaction, I do my work and get out, I would never have been to the place where I'm at today, where I get able to learn more about marketing, more about operations, structuring businesses, making offers, and then now even diving into more in what sales actually looks like. And then going back into all the slew of things to where I'm his second hand in the whole company. And the only reason I got there was literally because of this mindset shift. Instead of seeing my work as a transaction of putting my hours and skill into something and getting money out, I saw it as a place where, no, I'm here to serve in whatever capacity that I can. And right now, it's my stage to learn. I'm here to learn everything that I can. When it comes to spirituality, when it comes to business, when it comes to anything like that, I'm just here to be a sponge and try things and be obsessed with trying those things, and then see what sticks with me, see what actually works out for me. What are these skills that actually fill me up as a creative, as whatever the case is, whether I like sales, whether I like marketing, whether I like operations, whatever the case is. And I stretched myself and giving me these new responsibilities, failed a lot of times, but also came to the point where I actually started succeeding. And that was the main thing. And once I got to that point, I had to realize like it's only because I started thinking like I was a servant. And a good analogy that I can use with this is pretty much analogy I like to use is think of Batman, right? Bruce Wayne, whatever the case is, right? Billionaire, playboy by day, crime fighter at night. But if you know anything about his story, he doesn't have any family because his parents died and everything like that, right? That's part of the origin story that's been playing so many times during movies, which is kind of annoying. But anyways, but the one person that he has actually his family is his butler, unironically. And the thing is, when I talk about being and acting and thinking like a servant, he kind of comes up to mind because the way Alfred, his butler, pretty much acts is all to make sure that Bruce's life is actually good. And that's not to his detriment at all. He worries about Bruce. He kind of thinks of him as his own son, and he makes sure that he does the things that he needs to, helps him when it comes to Batman stuff, whatever, and is there when he needs them, and is there for constructive counsel and everything like that, because he's serving him. And especially in this day and age where the culture is more about me, 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 me. What can I get out of this opportunity? What can I get? What can I get? What can I get? I've noticed that there's a big gap in it that maybe is going to be filled up pretty soon. That is just more of like, where are the people that are looking just to give service and not to the detriment of their own pay or anything like that. But it's more like, no, I'm here to give my skills. I'm here to give because I care about the actual mission that's being happening in this business, in this company, or whatever the case is. And I'm here to serve this business owner because they've treated me well. They deserve my respect. They've earned my respect. And I want to serve this guy. I want to help him achieve his vision. And even if, let's say you're the person who wants to start your own business, like me, because I do, just not right now, figuring that out. God will tell me what that happens. Anyways, but if you're that person, the reason why like I wanted to get into a business is to kind of learn what the inside was because I wanted to know how to be led well first before becoming a leader who leads well. Because I needed to have an example of what it actually looks like. And the boss that I have right now, he's given me that example. And it's been honestly so much of a blessing. And when it comes to learning these skills, being open to learning these skills and having this kind of mindset, that's the thing that propelled me forward. And kind of my income is still growing even nowadays with the increased responsibilities that I have, the higher leverage activities that I get to do, and all of these different things. Like, I'm here to help this guy, and he's paying me well because he's a good boss. Now, if you're in a place where they're not paying you well and they don't care about the value that you add, you don't need to stay there. Obviously, go to a place that actually values you. But here's the thing, like a lot of times we are in places that actually value our work, but a lot of times, at least in the mentality of nowadays, like I was saying, it's more individualistic. So it's not really just like, what can I give to the company? What can I give to my boss? What can I give to this person? What can I give to the people that I'm actually serving in this kind of business? It's more like, this is the stuff I have to do. Give me my paycheck. I just want to go home. And that's the average lifestyle. That's the average work life mentality. And that's what gets people stuck in the same rut, comfortable, into the place where, you know, they're, they let their dreams die because they are not willing to do things that are uncomfortable, stress themselves. And if they see an opportunity, it's more like, oh no, rather than like, oh, cool. I get to take on a new opportunity. Like, I get to learn new things. When people a lot of times get intimidated by it and then stop altogether. And I've seen it. And I've definitely been very, very close to saying no to very good opportunities. And that almost like kind of derailed me at that point. And I probably would have been dead inside. It was, in all honesty. I'll just say this because this is something I very much have learned in the past year. And I know I want to add value to like the 10 people that are going to watch this video. The two things that have honestly helped me grow in my income over the past 2 years and actually helping me get to the position where I can get married, which is great, is just focusing on the skills that I've been learning those skills, and then also working as a servant, looking to serve in whatever capacity that I can, making sure that I'm actually helping people and not just for my own self-interest, but for the interests of others too. And having that right harmony of like knowing what's good for them, prioritizing that, but also making sure that it's not infringing on what's priority to me. Because a good boss, a good employer will always take into consideration the vision that you have for your own life. And will be like, okay, this is my vision for the overall company. What is your vision? I want to see where you fit into this. I want to see where we can work together and what we can do to push you forward to your goals, whether it's income, whether it's position, whether it's skills, whatever the case is at that point. Because a good leader, from what I've learned, is really making their vision big enough to fit everyone else's vision inside of it. And it could be short-term vision. Like for me, I'm learning all the skills that I need to and helping this guy learn and grow his business to the point where when God decides to call me, when God decides to tell me that it's time to leave, I'll leave and start my own thing whenever that happens. But right now, like, I have to say no to my ambition of everyone trying to be like, you got to start now because you're young. You got to start all these businesses. You got to try and fail all these different things. And it's like, right now, God really just told me to stay with this one person and learn everything that I can and try and help and serve. Seems kind of countercultural, but I'm going to do it because God told me to. That's all I can really say. But hope this added value to you and hope it helps. If you didn't, cool. If you did, awesome. And love you guys. Have a good one.